Alright fellas, we're back at Pokemon Masters. Today we're taking a look here at Cheron and Tornadus Incarnate as a Master Fair Sync pair at 1 out of 5 6-star EX without the X roll. And also without level 150 until later in the video. But whatever. Not really the point. So, Cheron is a flying type tech character with the Striker EX roll, though of course again not unlocked. Though he really operates as a striker. I mean, he's tech in name alone mostly. He does have some abilities that do, come off as techish, but like so do most strikers. Like, he applies rebuff, but so does Neo Champion Red, for example, right? I mean, these rolls just don't matter anymore. Like, it's really true. He's got his main damage option with Bleak Wind Storm, 179 base power, 4 gauge move, 30% chance to debuff speed, and it never misses in rain. He's also got his buddy move, which is also Bleak Wind Storm. Move never misses. He gets more damage whenever his physical move's next is raised. Lowers enemy speed by 2, and it applies flying rebuff by 1 stat rank the first time the move is activated each battle. So, that is where a little bit of the tech stuff comes in, I guess the speed debuffs and the flying rebuff, and he's also got some passives here, such as Season Turning Power, which makes his moves never miss, raises his special attack by 4 on entry, and all of his attacks are crits. I mean, yeah, of course, just add all of that in there. He's got his passive skill, New Teacher's Quick Wit, which increases physical and special moves next by 1 stat rank when the attack move is successful, and the more his physical moves next is increased, the more it powers up his moves and sync moves. And he's also got +2 physical and special moves next after using his sync move, so he will be getting some pretty good power from that as well. So yeah, as you can tell, he's just a very high-powered tech character for the most part. He does have some stuff in the grid that I guess does kind of give a little bit more in the tech vibes. Not really at 1 out of 5 though, but I mean, he's got stuff like, I guess, Discombobulate, Slippery Slip for evasion, that's mostly, I'd say it's more of a general ability than anything. Head Start 1, also still more of a general ability, and some other things, right? Again, for the most part, I think he's mostly a striker, but, I mean, he can be a tech as well. And of course, being a tech does mean he does get the innate multiplier of whenever enemy type is rebuffed. So he does have up to 200% in total sync multipliers just at 1 out of 5, which is pretty good for sure. And he does get Cakewalk at 3 out of 5, so he's got up to 300% in total multipliers after that, which is nice. And the way that his passive works is that he gets, I think, 0.05, 1.005 times extra damage every time he's got +1 physical moves next, meaning he gets up to 1.5 times extra damage when he's got +10 physical moves next, and that applies the same way on his buddy move. So that's a lot of good damage. Definitely, that's it's like, what, another 100, that's like a 100% total multiplier when both are fully activated, so that's a lot of good stuff for damage. So either way, whatever. We're going to go ahead and look at Cheron here a little bit today, give him a little bit of a showcase. I'm probably not going to invest in him past 1 out of 5 unless I really feel like I need to, but I'm not really that interested in Cheron that much. I just wanted another excuse to play Anniversary Skyla in a video, so that's the plan. Anyway, let's go ahead and hop into the battles and see what Cheron is able to do. So the first battle is against Cheron's, what the fuck you call this, Extreme Battle then, right? So obviously every Master Fair, for the most part, gets an Extreme Battle event, so we're going to go ahead and look at Cheron's here. I just went with a pretty free-to-play setup of Skyla and Cygnus Udalisa for other implications than the fact that I just needed free-to-play partners, but I did want to do Flying Stadium because I don't think... I do Flying Stadium later in the video, but as a solo. I don't think that there's much necessity in showcasing Cheron against the stadium, even if it's like a fully free-to-play setup, or sorry, not against stadium, but against a Flying Weakness stadium, just because you can pretty much throw in any partner he's going to be able to win. Again, I soloed the damn thing, so obviously, right? But I wanted to go ahead and I guess just put out against his ultimate battle, because these stages do tend to be pretty much harder anyway. Even if the stage is directly for Cheron, I find for the most part that these stadiums are going to, or not stadiums, these battles are going to be more difficult than Champion Stadium anyway, even if you are using the specified unit, because they really just go overboard in the difficulty, which I mean is fair enough, right? So the real thing you have to worry about with this stage, I guess, is the power of Hilda's attacks, right? She has speed buffs, I think the size of Sentry Entry, and I think that's mostly, I think they also need a status change, right? So, status change, speedy buffs, preferably defensive buffs for your team as well. Yeah, whatever. Either way, Cheron obviously does well here. He was intended for the stage. He does good flying damage as shown here. I could, of course, pair him up with like Anniversary Skyla or something if I really wanted to maximize his actual flying damage against flying weak stages, but I don't think that's necessary. I mean, you're already seeing his damage out here is pretty damn absurd. We're at +2 physical moves next now. Let's go ahead and go for fly and just see how much damage we can really put out here. Also +4 attack, so not even maxed there. 36,000 damage. Yeah, it's pretty good, man. I don't know, man. Is the Master Fair doing enough damage? I think he's doing enough damage. I mean, it's kind of his job, right? So if he was a bad damage dealer, granted, there's Neo Champion Nate, right? He's got good burst damage. I mean, come on, that's kind of what he's intended for. Whatever. Point being, Cheren's got very solid, consistent damage, and even with free-to-play partners, he's going to be able to clear pretty much any low-tier content stage. I don't really think that needs to be elaborated on much further, so I'm not going to elaborate on it much further. Great damage dealer, did good damage, did his job, did what he was supposed to. Thank God. Otherwise, I think we'd have a problem on our hands. So yeah, let's go on and move on to an off-type. Take a look at him there. Alright, so for a big maximizing showcase, this trust me, overkill. Absolute overkill for any given stadium stage. But if you really want to see what Cheren's best setup is, here you go. If you want to go see some other setups where Cheren's able to use similar setups to these in order to actually go beat ultimate battles and whatnot, I'd recommend going and watching Zinfogel and Naomi's videos on them, because Cheren can definitely perform extremely well in those setups, especially with partners like Anniversary Skyla and Neo Champion Rosa. Pretty sure Zinfogel also used Lodge Serena. That's hilarious. I'm good to steal that setup. Oh, but I don't have a 3 out of 5 Cheren. Anyway, whatever. So here's my 1 out of 5 Cheren usage against a definitely far weaker bit of content, and I mean, he performs good, right? I mean, what else are we gonna say? He's gonna perform well. He's got Flying Zone. He's got himself the physical and special moves next spam that Rose is able to provide. Fresh reminder: he does need physical moves next buffs for his actual damage to increase overall, which he can do by himself with pretty decent efficiency, but with Neo Champion Rose's help, obviously it's going to be a lot better, because she's going to be spamming special and physical moves next, and she's going to be a great support overall in general, especially because she also does have Unova Flag Bearer, and applies to Cheren's Unova Pride? Whatever the one he has is, I don't remember. Either way, that was some pretty crazy damage there. Got ourselves +7 physical moves next now, +1 special moves next. Rosa even did some pretty good damage by herself. That's pretty funny. Even Skyla was able to do some pretty solid damage with her air cutter there, which we were going to go for her nuke, but clearly wasn't needed. 17,000 damage with a support EX boosted, flying -1 flying rebuff, flying zone boosted, regular. What the fuck's the move called again? Yeah, the flying move that Tornadus has. They got in Legends Arceus. I forgot what it's called, man. All right, Bleak Wind Storm, I think. Whatever. I'm serious. I literally do not remember the move names. I don't remember them for Thunderous, Landorus, or Enamorous either. But whatever. So yeah, as we can see, great partners means great results. That's pretty much a given. Cheren's able to be enhanced directly by Skyla and Rosa in order to be taken to very, very good heights of damage, even just at 1 out of 5 here without proper investment. So that is definitely very nice. Second to last bit is Anniversary Steven enhancement. Yeah, any type of flying buff, I'm going to have to showcase Anniversary Steven enhancement. This setup is a little odd and definitely was not flashy by any sense of the word. But hey, we're able to use the new buff to Phoebe in order to buff Steven's damage, and also buff physical moves next for Cheren's damage as well. So hey, this works out. Still quite upset that Phoebe did not get any like gauge management abilities. She really does need them. Either way, whatever, doesn't matter too much. Spread damage, thankfully, with Cheren is still very good, of course, even without the constant reinforcement of those of like Neo Champion Rosa or Anniversary Skyla, right? So he's gonna be doing fine. He will be getting, of course, not really a buff, but I guess Ethan will be getting a buff, really. But Cygnus Ethan's gonna be getting his Field EX roll later in the month for Masters Day, so there's also that to consider, I guess, if anyone's interested in that, which could be good for Cheren if you want to maybe pair them up. Not saying that it's definitely better than anything that we got now, but it is something if you just want to work that setup. So hey, go for that, have fun. It's kind of the point of playing these games. Whatever. May have been better to go for the Buddy Bleak Wind Storm there, but otherwise I would not have been able to queue up a drag in a sense, so I'm not actually too worried about that. And also going for the fly there does mean we're going to be effectively resetting Cheren's damage for the damage he's going to be having to do with his Bleak Wind Storm, so keep all that in mind, I guess. Did want to queue up a Dragon Ascent here, but didn't have enough gauge to. Doesn't matter, though. Thankfully, Cheron is able to KO enough. And this is kind of one of the problems, not necessarily of Cheron, but I guess of the setup specifically, is that Cheron's not really able to buff his physical moves next all that much here to where his damage can really start increasing, which is a pretty big issue. May have been better to go for the nuke there against the Primate than the Bleak Windstorm, Buddy Bleak Windstorm afterwards, but hey, I mean, I think it ended up with mostly the same effect here. Cheron survived, barely, and I definitely would have redone this setup if Cheron had not survived, but hey, I mean, whatever, it doesn't matter that much. Got the win, so that's something. Definitely not a fantastic setup for Anniversary Steven. Skyla's still definitely a better partner, at least with the level of investment that I have for her, but hey, whatever, it's fine. I'm not going to sit here and say that was a good clear, but it was a clear nonetheless. So, flying rebuff, applying buffs to other flying characters. That's one thing that Cheron can do, and it's definitely a big buff for a lot of the flying characters. Signature Ethan, Anniversary Steven, Summer Liza, you know, any other flying character that you can pretty much mention, they're going to be getting directly buffed off of not only Cheron's damage, but also the flying rebuff so that their own damage can be enhanced by whatever means you want them to be. So, that is nice too. Anyway, let's finish off with the solo and I guess get a little final view of Cheron. So this setup here does require some specific work for the most part in order to solo Marshall. It's more just like a check of, you know, how you're going to queue up your moves, not really anything that Cheron can do specifically. The fly is useful for, of course, dodging any damage, and of course the spread damage is nice too, in some extent. So there is that. He does apply super effective next on his trainer move, which is very helpful for increasing the damage here on the next Bleak Windstorm. With plus 3 special moves next and plus 4 physical moves next, able to KO the side there, make sure it doesn't queue up anything. Which means, ironically enough, we do actually want Marshall to queue up and move there so we can get the KO denial on the side here for their high jump kick. This setup I gave Cheron level 150 because otherwise it's a lot more RNG for damage rolls, but it really did not end up mattering that much, really. And the fly there with however many physical moves next, like what, plus 7 I think, was able to do a ton of damage, and they were able to finish off, of course, with a Buddy Bleak Windstorm. I had to screenshot it. It took me way too long to do, about half an hour. A little bit. I'm not good at the game, I swear. But, hey, we got the win. That's something. So, yeah. Cheron, so, I guess you can view this as Cheron is so stupidly strong, he can solo 3,000 point stadium. Not like most other characters can't do that already by some method of like cheesing with flinch or fucking whatever. I think Signature Lyra is still on record for like, how many points can you get in a single, like what, fucking 7,000 points or something like that? I don't know, 8,000, whatever. Either way, there we go. Cheron was able to do some pretty good work. He is, again, in my opinion, more of a damage dealing character than a actual tech utility type of character. But also for the most part, I feel that's just the case a lot as is. But I really feel that it's mostly shown off with Cheron here. He's literally just a striker and a tech body. His utility is not enough to really call him a tech in any sense of the word. Again, even more than like Bryson Man, which is what I kind of stated earlier. Was that like Bryson Man, he really feels like a striker, or he tries to be a striker, but he does at least have tech-based abilities. Cheron does also have tech-based abilities, but just not even to the same extent as Bryson Man, which says a lot to me. Not that not that any of that's bad. It's definitely not, but it's just that it's weird to me that they went ahead and did it like that. And they're really just showing that rolls mean nothing in this game anymore, which has been becoming the case for ever. So, hey, at least they're finally acknowledging it, but whatever. That's my thoughts about new Champion Cheron at 1 out of 5, 6-star EX. Let me know what you think about him. Let me know what you think about him down in the comments below, and I'll see you all later. Like and subscribe, I guess.